This is a fine line of old cedar trees here at Cahaba. And I like to think that they are the descendants of the trees that grew on this very property when the C.C. Pegues family lived here back in the 1850s, 1860s. Beautiful place, this deserted field now. There was a fine house there, formal gardens, fountains, artesian wells. One of the loveliest homes in Cahaba, they say. The Pegues family used to laugh, though, and say, you know, we live at the jail. For the place had been the jail, the calaboose, when Cahaba was the capital of Alabama, 1820s. After the capital was moved to Tuscaloosa, property changed hands, and the Pegues family bought it and made additions and alterations and made it suitable for family living. And as I said, it was one of the lovely homes in Cahaba. People delighted in coming here to visit and to go to parties and dinners and to sit on the veranda and talk, exchange stories. But everyone who came to the Pegues place wanted to be sure to have a walk in the mystic maze. A maze created by the geometric planting of cedar trees, so that you could wander down the paths between the trees and come to a dead end and have to turn around and start another way and finally find your way out of that maze. It's a very popular pastime here at Cahaba. And young people, especially young courting couples, enjoyed walking in that maze nights, especially moonlight nights. It was back in 1862, they say, that one moonlight night a strange thing happened in that maze. 1862, Colonel Pegues was off fighting with the Confederate forces in Virginia. Early in that war between the states, he had raised a company of volunteers here, the Cahaba Rifles. They had received a battle flag at Salt Marsh Hall, gone marching off to join the Confederate forces. Proud company of men. One summer night in 1862, a young Confederate soldier, home on leave, visiting here in Cahaba, visiting his family, especially interested in visiting a young woman whom he had loved for quite some time. And out of courtesy, they came to see the Pegues family, and not only courtesy, but enjoyment too, I'm sure. Perhaps he even brought her news of her husband. And after they had paid their respects, they came, as did nearly all young couples, to walk in the maze. And they were strolling there and talking about the things that young people laugh and talk about. Suddenly there appeared before them this luminous ball that was floating several feet above the ground, as though it were controlled by some unseen force. And it came very near them and then darted away and retreated and disappeared. And the young people wondered at it. The young woman was frightened, but the young man said, oh, I'm sure there's a logical explanation. It must be the moonlight striking some object, and oh, it's nothing to be afraid of. And then the ball was back, bouncing around and veering from one side of the maze to the other, and would come very close to the young couple and then back away as though it were really taunting them, almost laughing at them. And the young man knew, of course, there's some way to explain this. It's nothing strange. Don't be frightened, he said to the young woman. He was clinging to him by that time. But he thought, I'll catch it. And the next time it came toward him, he ran toward it to catch it in his hands. And before he could touch it, it vanished right before their eyes. And then it was back again, taunting them and almost saying, you don't know what I am and you can't catch me. This bright, luminous ball. And I think they were both frightened by that time. They found their way out of the maze and hurried back to the Pegues' house to tell about their adventure. And the people there laughed at them and said, oh, you're moonstruck. You're imagining things. And they were the first couple who saw that strange light, but they were not the last. Because in the months and the years that followed, many people wandering in that maze at night would tell of seeing this glowing ball that would appear from nowhere and dart about, tantalizing. And it became known as the Pegues ghost. And the house has disappeared. Of course, the maze is long since gone. But the Pegues ghost, they say, is still here at Cahaba. Many nights, hunters and fishermen from the river here tell of seeing a strange glowing ball that appears from nowhere, that no one can catch and no one can explain. And they say it is the Pegues ghost, still here at Cahaba.